Disney made some announcements yesterday at the Destination D23 event. There's an update coming to downtown Disney. Is there a subtle message they're sending? Also, more grass. We've got confirmed in terms of Fantasmic, World of Color, and Main Street Electrical Parade. Magic bands at Disneyland? All this coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hello everybody, welcome to our review of the announcements made at yesterday's Destination D23 event. While they were wide-ranging, covering parks all over the world, we're going to focus on those announcements specific to Disneyland, and we'll begin with the news that Disney finally has some plans for downtown Disney, namely the AMC Theater side of things. Those buildings, that were supposed to be demoed for the new hotel that never got built. AMC, which is currently vacant, the Starbucks Express, Earl of Sandwich, and Sugarboo. All of these will be closed for this update. This will be the second time that they've closed Earl of Sandwich, which did close years ago along with the AMC theaters when they announced that new hotel project. That project got canceled, they brought back Earl of Sandwich, and now it's going to be closed again. And what we're getting is this. My first impression when seeing this was that this looked super vintage, 70s styles architecture. Those two guitar pick structures scream mid-century to me, like we're in old school Palm Springs or something. These two buildings also have that sort of mid-century look, though I'm sure there is, a little flexibility in how those wind up looking. But the guitar picks are an oddly specific design choice. They're going for something here. The next thing that caught my eye was the monorail. At first it looked like it was going the wrong way, but if you put the Lego store right here, you can now see how it does fit with the existing landscape. What they've done is shifted how the buildings face. These buildings here aren't the AMC Theater. That's our first instinct, is to make those the AMC Theater. But that's actually where the Starbucks Express is. And that puts the AMC right about where the grass is, which we're going to get to the grass here in just a minute. But the monorail is also important because it is, again, a conscious choice to include in the concept art. I kind of feel like they're trying to connect this new space with the vision that they may have for Tomorrowland. Because after all, the monorail station in downtown Disney, which is just out of frame in that concept art, does connect. Your next stop is Tomorrowland. Concept art for the new Tomorrowland entrance and the changes that they already made to the exteriors of Star Tours and Buzz Lightyear are also vintage, also mid-century. We know this because that's exactly how they did look mid-century. Now, I don't want to get everybody's heart racing, but this could be something. This could be a subtle hint as to what they may have planned. They may have a vision for Tomorrowland. Is it possible that Disney has decided on whatever a theme for Tomorrowland that they're going to build in the future? I don't think that this is a coincidence. And I also have to say that if you were to ask pretty much anyone if they would want this sort of aesthetic in Tomorrowland, you would get a thunderous yes. Stay tuned to Fresh Baked on this because we may be exploring this very topic in a future podcast perhaps. So I'm gonna want to talk about this a little bit more. But for now, let's talk about that grass. This is now the second piece of concept art that we've seen in a week that has large amounts of grass where there was none before. Also, that grass has people walking all over it. Also, has Disney found some sort of space-age new kind of grass that can, or fake grass as it were, that looks real, but could stand up to the wear and tear of Disney guests? I love it, of course. I'm definitely not complaining at all. I would love it, even if it is fake grass, I would love it. I'm just asking, how? How are they doing this? How are they got this Toontown stuff and now downtown Disney? What's going on? But in general, I'm just really getting a strong 70s vibe here in this part of downtown Disney. Even the style of the concept art is 70s versus, let's say, the more modern style of the Toontown concept art. They're drawn differently. We'll stand by for more on this story as it develops, but for now, let's talk about magic bands. For years, people have been asking me, hey Dave, when do you think they're going to bring magic bands to Disneyland? They've been at Walt Disney World forever, it seems like. And for years, I've said, probably never. Well, we're getting magic bands, which is just one more example of how it does, for all intents and purposes, it does feel like Disney is trying to turn Disneyland into Walt Disney World. But before we get into that, let's talk first about what magic bands are, what they do for those who may or may not know what a magic band is. It's a wearable. You wear it on your wrist like a watch, and it replaces basically your park ticket and your wallet. Wherever you need to have your ticket scanned, let's say, for example, if you've got a Lightning Lane pass and you want to, just like how FastPass had the scanners, you would just give it one of these instead of flashing your ticket. Also, anytime you want to spend money anywhere, your Magic Band is synced to your credit card. So if you buy something at any kind of gift shop or at a restaurant, you would just, once again, they would just scan your Magic Band. And as we're getting the Magic Band Plus, which is the newest generation of Magic Bands, it's also possible that they're going to be able to be used for whatever interactive elements they might have in the park. There are things existing already at Magic Kingdom. The 50th anniversary statues, for example, have some sort of interactivity. They light up. They might do other things, like let's say if there's a fireworks show going off or something like that, they kind of interact with that a little bit. It's the next generation. Now, what's curious is that the Magic Band is intended to replace, like I said, your ticket, your wallet, your phone in that case. They don't want, using the Magic Band, now you don't have to show your phone for any of those things. Except at Disney World, I believe they're actually trying to move things they want you to use your app more. They're phasing out, for example, at the hotels, you used to use your Magic Band to get access to your room, to unlock the door. Now they want you to use your app. They've turned that off. I'm not sure if Disney is sure what direction they're trying to go with the Magic Bands. I just know they're coming. And I guess the real reason why they're here, is it is one less obstacle for you to spend money in the parks. Magic Band is more convenient than digging into your pocket to get a wallet and get out your card and all that. It makes it that much simpler to just scan your Magic Band. The fewer obstacles between you and your wallet, the better it is, the more likely it is you're going to spend money in the park. A couple of other things, as I mentioned, we're getting Magic Band Plus, which is the next generation. We will not have the ability to purchase the lesser model, as it were, the more basic version of it. It's Magic Band Plus or nothing. Also, you do have to pay for these. They are not giving any of these away. There used to be complimentary Magic Bands for any hotel guests at Walt Disney World or an AP. If you were an AP, you got a free Magic Band. That is no longer the case. It hasn't been that way for a little while now at Disney World. It will not be the case here at Disneyland. If you want a Magic Band, you got to pay for it. But having said that, you don't have to get a Magic Band. It is not required. Anything that you can do with a Magic Band, you can do with your phone, probably. There should also be no issues or resistance with regard to possibility of being tracked via an RFID chip. Magic Bands do have an RFID chip on it, and therefore it can track wherever you are. It can track your movements, your spending patterns, that kind of thing. Some people resisted Magic Bands because of this. They didn't want to be tracked, but your phone now does this already. You are already being tracked. So if you were okay with using your phone, you should be okay with using a Magic Band. In conclusion, on Magic Bands, I'm kind of meh about this. Personally, I don't think I would be getting one. I don't mind going into my wallet. I don't mind using my phone. I like using my phone for these kind of things. But I know that some people, especially people who have been to Walt Disney World, naturally, and have used it before, I know some people are really excited and really love Magic Bands. So it's a personal choice. With that, let's talk next about the announcements, the confirmations for Fantasmic, World of Color, and Main Street Electrical Parade. They're all coming in 2022. That's it. Take care. So not much of an announcement because we already knew those things were coming. That was already news. We've already watched them building or reaffirming Fantasmic and World of Color, and we've already heard about the Main Street Electrical Parade. The assumption is, yes, 2022. They didn't give a date or even a season. So all this is just confirmation of something that we kind of already knew. Now, I've got my own predictions about each of those shows. I've been saying for a little while that I think that World of Color will be back in February or sometime after the holiday season at least. They should have their work done by then. That's what I'm hearing. Fantasmic is another story. I'm thinking maybe fall based on what I'm hearing. We've seen them working on the fountains for Fantasmic. We've seen them working on the light standards, that kind of thing. There is movement, but what I'm also hearing is that some of the casts that are necessary to run Fantasmic aren't being called back until the middle of the year, April, May, or even later. So that puts even a summer release of Fantasmic in doubt. It's difficult for me to think that if they're not bringing back all the necessary casts until then they're still not ready for a show, which is why I think maybe fall might be a more reasonable or likely scenario. And then as for Main Street Electrical Parade, I'm guessing spring. They don't have to do anything hardly. There's very little cast. Just there's a few performers, and then the technicians and that kind of thing. But it's a much easier show to put on. They're probably already prepared for that, so I think that they're basically ready with Main Street Electrical Parade. It's going to be back almost as soon as they can get done with the holiday season, I think. So I'm thinking spring and probably summer also for Main Street Electrical Parade. And with that, the last thing that I want to cover is the announcements that they made for the DVC tower, the new tower that they're building at the Disneyland Hotel. You may or may not be aware of this, but there's a whole bunch of construction happening over there back there by the Disneyland Hotel. They're building a new tower, a fourth tower, DVC only though. They provided some new concept art and some images showing us how the rooms might look. This art right here appears to show the backside of the tower. The original concept art showed the front face of the tower as it would have been seen maybe from, I don't know, the Fantasy Tower, that kind of angle. This new concept art, though, is the backside as evidenced by the tiered layers of this wing. This DVC tower looks like it's going to get its own pool, so lucky you, DVC. By the way, let's also note that this hotel also has a bit of a mid-century design and feel to it. Just saying. And here's a look at one of the rooms. The tower itself and its rooms are inspired by animation, not the films, not the films themselves, but by the artists and their process. You'll see hints towards this in future concept art, I'm sure. Construction for this project is ongoing, of course. I'm not even sure if they've gone vertical yet. And no date was given in the announcement as to when it might open. It's going to be a while. I'm guessing, what is it, 2021, late 21? 23 seems optimistic even, if they haven't gone vertical. So I guess stay tuned for more on this and everything else that we've covered today as well. Some of it, I mean, it's a lot, but some of it looks kind of fascinating. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that downtown Disney stuff plays out. And I'm really hoping that I'm onto something with these connections that I'm seeing between the concept art and the concept art for Tomorrowland and what we already see today in Tomorrowland. Crossing my fingers on that because, as I mentioned, that is an aesthetic that I have been in favor of for a while now. The retro 70s, 80s era Tomorrowland would look great to me. Now, if we could only get the escalator back and the actual rocket jets, not the Astro Orbiter, but the rocket jets in a proper place in Tomorrowland, we might be onto something. But until we hear more, hey, stay tuned to Fresh Baked. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and would like to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/FreshBaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you guys very much. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked.